Yay.
No. Oh, so lovely. Sadly, Claudia is pretty ill today.
Bit sniffly.
I mean, she's got a sniffle. She's not.
I got man flu, pretty much. I get like the tiniest headache and I'm like, I got a headache, I need paracetamol.
It's the worst thing ever. No one understands my pain.
Jessica's like, I've had a week-long migraine. It's
I'm
alright,
not gonna blame you.
because you made me feel better, because
I got
me
her
some nice jewelry.
Yeah, from Anna Louisa. It's fancy.
It's got like fern-like striations, and it's like this really nice kind of goldish colour. Anyway, it goes very well with my jewellery that I already have and my watch.
I think it looks like feathers.
Yeah, or like feathers. Yeah, and it's all like twisted. It's cool.
You get to look fancy in 2 days' time because it's Cara and Evelina's wedding.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I mean, that's what this video is really about. It's not.
I thought it was about how I saved your life.
Yeah, it is. That is actually why we decided to sit down and talk about this. Yeah, so when I met Claudia, I think it's safe to say I wasn't in the best place in my life. I got diagnosed with having a genetic neurological condition when I was 17 because I had this big like health crisis episode where I paralysed both of my arms. That was great.
Yeah, pretty terrifying.
Yeah. So they diagnosed me and were like, you have this thing called HMPP. It affects all of your nerves. It is, what's that word?
Oh, progressive.
Thank you. It's progressive.
Progressive doesn't mean it goes down, it means it gets worse.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like, it gets worse. Bye. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Because I turned 18.
Yeah, and then the paediatric department with the children's like bit were basically like, oh, you're an adult now, bye-bye. And then you like were ill for a while, and then BBC Three action happened. Which
oh yeah, I was on BBC Three. I was on a modelling show for disabled girls.
Which just made you probably more ill.
You don't need to think or talk about that ever.
No, we'll skim over that. Then you went to university.
Yeah, I got
and
worse.
University isn't good for anyone's health.
No.
As a generalisation, university students are kind of like just looking up, like can only just about look after themselves, let alone someone else. And they just like want to prioritise going out, drinking and making friends.
Very fair that you don't help the disabled
Learning
kids.
how to boil eggs and things. You know how to turn on a washing machine.
Alright, show off.
She didn't until I met her. Anyway.
Jesus. I wasn't in a very good state. I wasn't in a very good condition. But when I met Claudia, that all changed. And she'd agreed to take this heap of nonsensical rubbish on.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
I think it's fair.
You had like one diagnosis for yourself, which was this HNPP, and you're deaf. And I was like, oh, okay, is that related to your HMPP? And you're like, yeah, I think so. They weren't really clear about that. And I'm like,
no one told me.
Okay.
Also, I went blind in one eye. No one really explained that to me
It was also
either.
just weird because it's hereditary neuropathy with liability to pressure palsy. So I'm like, okay, hereditary. So who else has it in your family? And you're like, oh, and my dad has it, like, really minor. And I was like, okay, so what are his symptoms? You're like, he just can't feel the ends of his fingers so much, but that's come along in old age.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, and is he deaf? And you're like, no, he's just got a bit of hearing loss now. I'm like, huh.
I was having quite a lot of health crises at the time.
Yeah, you had like a
when we
full-time
met.
carer that came in every day to your house and like got all your shopping for you, made sure you went and had your morning nap. Like Jessica used to have a morning nap every day. Like you'd be up for
like
about
3 hours.
You couldn't sleep more than 6 hours at a time.
No, I couldn't.
You used to drink like litres and litres of like caffeine-free Diet Coke. More on that later. Buckets loads of like frozen spinach that you would microwave and leeks. Just like so many leeks. Like your fridge was just filled with caffeine-free Coke, leeks, and frozen spinach. Oh, and frozen berries and soya yogurt. And that was literally your entire diet.
I went to a dietitian. Those were things she said I could eat.
That was literally your diet.
So that's all I ate.
And then she was being sick like every day, despite this like very minimal diet. I was just like, this is weird. Oh, and you ate all those really horrible like alternative sauces, like the mayonnaise and which were all made out of like, what the hell was in that stuff? And she used to drink like loads of cider vinegar. Basically, she was a delight. Leeks and cider vinegar breath like every morning. I was like, oh, hi darling.
Someone told me that was good for me.
Kind of, I just accepted. She'd been diagnosed when she was 17, and I was like, well, this is your diet. You obviously know what you're doing. Within the first 4 months of us dating, actually less than that, 3 months of us dating, I think we ended up in A&E like...
Twice. I
think it was like 3 times. You had like 2 like random crisis episodes where you basically...
middle of the night have to call an ambulance type thing.
Yeah, where you basically just couldn't get up, had like absolutely no energy, you'd been throwing up like all day. Or there was that time where you just hadn't been for a wee for like 48 hours, and I was like... This is not right. And then we went to A&E and I realised why you don't like it.
Yes, because they take you there in the middle of the night. They just leave you in a corridor for hours and hours and hours. They give you no water, no pills, nothing. And then they're rude to you and then they send you home. And nothing, they do nothing to help.
Yeah, one time we went, they basically were talking to Jessica as if she was making it all up and she was a hypochondriac. And they didn't believe when I was like, she has HMPP. And they were like, well, we don't know what that is. I'm
I've
like,
never heard of that.
And they were like, and I was like, well,
Google.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you should know more about it than I do, like, but that's what she has. And they were like, who's her overseeing consultant? I was like, well, she was diagnosed in Bristol when she was 17. And they were just like, They were just a bit like, whatever. And they pretty much said, in other words, that they had more proper emergencies to see.
Yeah.
And I was like, all she needs is some, like, IV antiemetic so she's not sick anymore and some fluids and then we can probably go home.
Yeah,
and
I couldn't stop vomiting for hours.
I was like, she's getting severely dehydrated and her migraine's getting really bad. Oh, well, just wait there. And they literally just left you in, like, a bright lit, horrible little curtain section, and me as well, and it was so hot in there. And I couldn't leave you. Oh, it was awful.
And also my migraine was so bad and awful and I couldn't open my eyes because of the pain. And then she was yelling at me that I had to open my eyes.
She kept coming over and be like, can you open your eyes, please? Can you open your eyes? How am I meant to talk to you if you've got your eyes shut? And I was like, she's deaf. Like, you need to, like, tap on her shoulder if you want her. And she's like, I was like... And then I was like, why don't they have your medical records here? That's just a bad thing with the NHS. I don't think they share records. Or maybe they've improved that now. But and then there was that time when we went and I was pretty sure you had kidney stones.
Yeah.
Because every time you went for a pee, you were like bleeding and it was really painful. Yeah. And then this other doctor was just like, I was like, I think she has kidney stones. And they were like, I don't think so. I've seen grown men who play rugby screaming out in agony because they have kidney stones. She doesn't look like she's in that much pain. Probably just got cystitis.
Well.
And then they literally just sent you home again.
Well, they did, and then I passed a kidney stone, so whatever.
Anyway, the point is, I was like, right, this is beeping ridiculous. You shouldn't be having to go to A&E like every month. Your GP should have like more of an understanding of your problem. You're not being overseen by any specialist, and yet you have a very specialist diagnosis that most people have never even heard of. I was like, we need to find you like an overseeing consultant. So next time we go to A&E, I can be like, she is being seen by Professor blah 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 at the so-and-so hospital. And then they can ring that doctor and say, what should we do for this patient?
Yeah, doctors don't tend to listen to young-looking women.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
I basically Googled like everything. Googles! We're not getting paid by Google for this video, by the way. Did my research and I found a British doctor had written loads of papers and studies on, not loads, but more than anyone else, on HMPP. And they were based at Queen's Square Hospital in London, which is a big like neurology specialist hospital. So I wrote an email one night and basically just said, my girlfriend got diagnosed with HMPP when she was 17. Since then, she's had no overseeing consultant. She has these ongoing symptoms. We would like some answers. Is there any way that she could be seen at your clinic? Blah, blah, blah. And they wrote back, like literally like the next day saying, oh yes, we'd be more than happy to see your girlfriend. Let your GP know that we've contacted you back and asked for a referral. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
And GP was like, oh, okay.
What's that? I don't know.
GP is like your general practitioner, so it's like your family doctor that you go to. It's like your main point of call to then get referred to specialist doctors.
See, this is the thing, I have memory problems, that's why you're here telling this story.
So then we went to Queen's Square and they basically did a whole day's worth of tests on you, all the tests that proved that you have HMPP. Not that they were trying to prove that she had it, because it was written in her medical notes, but just to get a baseline of how severe the condition was. So the consultant said, you have a severe form of HMPP, like you're displaying a lot of the symptoms, whereas some people only have like mild symptoms, you have quite a lot of severe ones. Obviously a history of multiple palsies, not just one episode. But the good news was, she then said to us, thinking we already knew it, like just as a side point, oh, by the way, like, she didn't even say by the way, she was like, as it's an episodic disease. And I was like, what? It's not progressive? And she was like, no, it tends to be just more episodic, so it goes up and down with your life. Obviously, as you age, things might get harder, but if you, like...
Look after yourself.
Yeah, look after yourself. Do these certain things, like don't carry heavy bags and don't lie in one position for a long time.
Just don't be an idiot.
So that was great. So then you were like, yay!
That was quite a shock. Yeah, I think I probably cried.
So for 8 years.
Yes.
Obviously there'd been more research done and they'd worked out it wasn't progressive, it was more episodic, and there were more people diagnosed with it than they thought originally.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is why I needed to see a consultant in the field who like knew what they're talking about. And then this consultant was like, would you like to be in a longitudinal study where we basically collect lots of information?
Because I thought there was no research being done, because I got told that no one wanted to fund research in it because there was no cure. And if you can't market a cure, why would you bother paying for the research? So then she told me all about HMPP, and she was like, but you do have these other symptoms that don't really fit at all. Like, you clearly have some connective tissue disorder. And I was like, I do? So she sent me off to rheumatology, where they checked all my connective tissue.
Oh, it's because you're all double jointed. You've always been like double jointed. And she thought that was obviously going to make your HMPP worse. So you needed to have that looked at, because if you're going to overstress your joints.
Yes, so she went to the rheumatologist. He was really nice. You're not faking. I was like, I know.
The rheumatologist is basically someone who deals with connective tissue and bones.
He was great. So yeah, he told me that I have connective tissue disorder, and he sent me to the migraine clinic.
So basically, now you know you had another diagnosis.
Another diagnosis.
Of MC, mixed connective tissue disorder, MCTD. Which is similar to like
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yeah, he wasn't like, we can't do much about it, unfortunately. You just need to do Pilates and don't overstress yourself. Try and strengthen your muscles so you're not overstretching your ligaments, things like that. And then you're all, actually, my main symptoms, I get migraines all the time. I'm like sick all the time. I'm like irritated to everything I eat. And you're like, okay, well, your stomach is like, and your gut's all connective tissue, so we'll refer you to gastroenterology, which is stomach and guts. You have to wait like months, one department to go to another department. And the annoying thing is, most of the time the departments don't talk to each other, so they need to use your GP as your primary doctor as the source to kind of link it all together. So you have to have a good GP. We didn't really have very good GPs. So we were basically doing this all by ourselves, like linking it all together.
It was mainly
ourselves.
Claudia.
Yeah.
Claudia was my GP. And so we went to gastroenterology. They put a camera down my throat. That wasn't very pleasant. And then they said, oh, that I should have FODMAP.
No, just like a severe form of IBS.
Yeah.
Irritable bowel
due
syndrome.
Due to my connective tissue problems.
Yeah, and mainly due to like an overgrowth of a type of bacteria.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Your gut flora had been disrupted because you'd had so many medications when you were like first diagnosed, when they were trying to find out what was wrong with you. And then also you'd been on a really weird diet. So your gut flora had just been completely wiped, and there was like an overgrowth of like all the wrong stuff. So they were like, follow the FODMAP diet.
And that has made such a difference to my life. It really has.
You're hardly ever sick now. I would say you're only sick when you have a really bad migraine. And also that's reduced as well. Because your migraines were coming from the fact that you weren't getting enough energy and that you were being sick. So it's all like one...
a variety of other things. But I got sent to the migraine clinic, but we only went once because then we got discharged because I had a migraine.
Yeah, but before that, we went back to the GP and I was like, okay, this is all great, but we're still getting the migraine, so can you refer us to neurology? And they were like, okay. So we went to neurology, which is like the head doctor. Not at Queen's Square, this is like just a more local doctor. So a nice guy there, and he did scans just to check that you didn't have spinal fluid leaking out still, because you basically said like, when I change positions, when I stand up, if I change temperature, like getting out of the bath for instance, I feel really faint. So you have low blood pressure. Anyway, he did all these other tests, worked out you didn't have like your spinal fluid leaking from your brain, which was great. You were like weirdly disappointed about that because you were like, I hope they find something so they can just fix it.
Yeah, that's something you can fix.
Yeah. So, but then he did give you some more initials. More letters to your name.
Yeah, I have, and he said I had POTS. Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia syndrome.
So
why can I remember that? Like that whole thing. But I can't remember my, like, yesterday.
Yeah. So that was another diagnosis that we'd gathered into our little basket. He was like,
Red Riding Hood.
Diet Coke's really great because it's got caffeine and that increases your blood pressure back to your head.
Vasoconstrictor.
And then basically makes you feel better. So that's why when you're feeling like woozy, you crave a Diet Coke. All that caffeine-free Diet Coke was a waste of time. Also, the FODMAP diet is a very complicated diet, but you can find it online. Google it. One of the like big no-nos is leeks.
You get really stuck on the leeks. I'm sure I was eating more than leeks.
No, you literally were eating like, you know, like those microwave boxes that we have. You filled it up with like 2 leeks. I know, because you used to get me to cut up the leeks so that you could eat them. So we stopped that, and then I was like, why don't we start introducing, like, you don't have any energy. And I was like, what's your next thing? And you're like, oh, chronic fatigue. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm not a nutritionist, but people get energy from like slow release, like carbs. And you're not eating any carbs. You're just eating like vegetables and frozen berries and yogurt. And you have no sugar in your diet. So you can't even get quick release energy. So I was like, why don't you just try and eat some rice? I've never heard of anyone who's allergic to rice.
Not there aren't people who are allergic to rice.
But it's kind of rare.
Allergic to rice, don't feel alone.
I made you eat like a little bit of rice. I don't think that did so well initially.
No, I think I was sick.
Then I made you eat a banana. At the end of the day, you're sick like all the time. This isn't gonna make things worse.
No.
You held down a banana once, and actually then you felt a bit better. And then we tried sweet potato. Because we read that sweet potato was more easily digestible as a starch compared to normal potato. And then you were just hooked on sweet potatoes. Hooked. Because like you ate it, you immediately felt better and you weren't sick. Should just mention that we started with like really small amounts.
We did.
Like really small amounts.
Don't jam a whole one in there.
You've got to like reline the gut with all this new stuff. What else? Oh, the migraines.
Yeah.
You still get the migraines, but less than you used to.
Currently being investigated.
And that's the next thing that we're now looking at.
It's gonna change.
You've been to a specialist hospital, and a different specialist hospital in London.
I've been to all of the hospitals. Gonna go for some more tests. So essentially, she saved my life. Maybe you were expecting a shorter story when you clicked on this video.
No! Our stories are never short.
But no! Are you fixing my makeup?
Yeah.
I cried.
So anyway, the moral of this story is...
We did.
Everyone should have a Claudia.
No, there was a moral to this story.
God, your memory is bad. We're gonna find you a doctor for that.
Advocate for yourself.
Yeah, not just accept your struggles and your conditions and what your doctor has possibly told you. And when a doctor says, no, that's like not what you have and you're making it up.
Seek a second opinion.
Yeah, get a second opinion.
Or a third one.
Try and go to the top. And you know, that is difficult. And you probably need someone to help you.
Yeah. Also, not gonna lie, it does help to have someone who is A, able-bodied, and B, has some kind of background in medicine.
Yeah, but like I said, most of this stuff is available on Google. I found that doctor that basically kickstarted this whole thing through contacting her receptionist through Google. You are so much better than when I first met you in terms of your health, but also like you say, your general happiness. You're far more, you're not like completely independent, you know, you still need help, but you are a lot more independent.
Yes.
You don't need to have a morning nap every day.
No.
You sleep like a good 10 hours every night now.
Mm.
You still get chronic fatigue, but like a lot less than you did. You go out to restaurants and you can enjoy more food and be less worried about traces of things in it.
You can just enjoy life.
Yeah, you're just like so much happier and healthier.
So you did save my life. Because now I have a fun life. And it's full of love and happiness.
Oh.
Thanks, wife.
Oh, thank you. I love you very much. And I didn't want to spend another damn night in A&E.
Do you want to show them the pretty ring I got you? She's going to start wearing more rings, she decided, because it looks cool.
I did used to wear loads of bangles and rings. We'll stop waffling now. Bye-bye!